Alrighty, show two of the day. I am joined by Scott Taylor, a guy of many hats, as I always say, and kind of followed you throughout your career. I remember watching you on CBC News when I lived in Saskatchewan about saving the Jets, and then I moved back to Manitoba, and you appeared on 92 City FM with Tom and Joe and KK from who lived in Morris, Manitoba at the time.
Yes, yes.
Uh, and so yeah, that was my station I listened to, and you always had the sports report, and and there was that billboard just outside of Canada Inns facing the old Polo Park Inn. So I was like, I listened to that guy. So yeah, and again through technology, you get to know you. It makes it so easy. So again, thanks for making the time, and you are now part of Game On magazine, and you got a bunch of other stuff going on. So again, thanks again
Yeah,
for.
we're like we were talking earlier, and at my age, you do not want to have nothing to do.
Mhm.
There has to be a reason to get up in the morning.
Yeah.
And fortunately, I have plenty of reasons. Hey, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Hey, not a problem. So let's just kind of maybe start how you got your start in your career and just kind of what intrigued you to get into sports.
Well, I played. I mean, I think everybody did. I played football and basketball and volleyball and ran track in high school. Um, didn't run track for very long, but did it for a while. And played hockey. I grew up in Sarnia, um, southwestern Ontario. Um, Played for a team called the Sarnia Bees, which became the Sarnia Sting in the OHL.
Hmm.
But in those days, it was a junior B team.
Yeah.
Um, I got my first paycheck in this business in 1968, writing a story on
We seem to have lost a connection.
the journalism game,
Mhm.
and I've kind of done it on and on, off and on every year since '68. So it's been a long time.
That it has been. I mean, that's over 50 years. That's pretty crazy. Any highlights that have stood out to you where you at certain events, maybe covering a World Series with the Jays or stuff like that?
Well, it's hard to do that
Mhm.
because I did 11 Olympics, 10 Olympics, um, World Series 9 or 10 times, 14 Super Bowls, um, Stanley Cup Finals 15 to 20 times. You do it all that time. A lot of it just feeds into the next.
Right.
But I have to admit now, at my age, I would much sooner go see the Steinbach Pistons play the Niverville Nighthawks than go to another Jets game.
Mhm.
I went out and watched the Balmoral Hall Blazers play the Winnipeg Avros last Thursday and had a tremendous time at that game. Um, you get thinking locally, and the magazine and the little newspaper column have done that. You get thinking locally more, and you really find pleasure in watching these kids play. It's really fun. Not long ago, I went and saw Niverville play the Winnipeg Blues. It was 8-2.
Yeah.
There was 52 people in the rink, and I think I knew every one of them. And it was just fun to do. So I'm really enjoying this um, work locally that I've been doing for the last 15 to 20 years. It's been really rewarding and a lot of fun. And yeah, it's great to go to the Jets all the time. And look, I don't miss a game, and it's great to go see games on the road and all the rest of it. But I think there's a lot to be said for what people in this province are doing in hockey, from Paul Dick to Kenny Pearson, to now Trevor Bunai at Hockey Manitoba. All of those tremendous coaches in the Winnipeg, or not Manitoba, U18 Women's League. It just goes on and on. The people that are giving so much to hockey. So, um, yeah, I guess the highlight of my career was the Ben Johnson story in 1988 in Seoul. But but other than that, I have man, I remember back in the 1980s with a friend named Marvin McDonald going out to cover the Cash League and the Hardy Cup and the Allen Cup. Boy, that was fun. Those are great guys and great times. Um, and 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 stories that are a lot more fun that you really can't tell to anybody but your closest friends at the Boston Pizza from time to time. But so many great stories from amateur hockey in Canada.
Most definitely. And I like what you say there. So that's what the Game On magazine is more intended to. When Barry Trotz wins the cup, he brings it up to Dauphin and covering that and just kind of getting that
Oh
look
yeah,
for people
I
who
mean
have
I
seen
had a tremendous day. Um, Myself and James Carey Lauder, the greatest photographer on the planet, we drove out to Sioux Valley, Dakota Nation when Zach Whitecloud brought the Stanley Cup. What a tremendous time we had. It was from everything from the powwow dancers to my old friend Jerry Barrett, who plays the Aboriginal Elvis Presley. It's just spectacular stuff. We had just a tremendous day with Chief Bone and with Zach and his dad, and it's those kind of things I think that really get to you in hockey more than watching Alex Ovechkin and Mark Scheifele go at it every now and again because they're wonderful players and yeah, I go to Oilers games. I go out of my way to go to the Oilers games to see McDavid and know that I've been there live. But boy, what guys and women are doing in this province, I think is really sensational.
Yeah, I would almost say like it is kind of almost underrated. Like Manitoba doesn't, it gets talked about, but yeah, the province over with Saskatchewan, and then you got the Steven Stamkos that come out of Sarnia. Uh,
But yeah, but I think it depends too. I've covered a couple of national Aboriginal hockey championships, and in the Indigenous world, Manitoba is the province. I mean, especially in hockey, we are currently the gold medalists in both men's and women's, and that's a U18 and a pretty high caliber of hockey, getting better all the time. And and I think there are areas where we're really considered pretty special. I mean, when you think about the fact that there are two women from a province of 1 million people, maybe 1 million people on the Olympic women's hockey team, and we have one, two, three players on the Olympic men's team: Mark Stone, Travis Sanheim from Elkhorn,
yes.
um, who has been tremendous. Seth Jarvis didn't stay; he wasn't with this group, but we have a couple of Manitobans on the Olympic team and a couple of women on the Olympic team. I think for a province our size, we're pretty well known across the country, and I think we're certainly appreciated. And certainly when you get into Indigenous sport, it's a big deal
Yeah.
nationally.
Definitely. And so yes, the professional side to the local side, and there is that local feel, like still sitting down, watching the news, turning on CTV, and you know, it's watching Mary Lee Caruso even at the local level. What's going on? Because again, you hear these stories of
You know what the most interesting
Hmm,
thing about Marilee Caruso is?
what's that?
Her two sons are two of the greatest wrestlers in the country, and both of them could be at the 2028 Olympic Games. Her
You know,
oldest son, Connor, is on the national team and just fought at the World Championships back in August. He's a 79-kilo wrestler and pound for pound, probably the best Olympic wrestler in the country. And Ryder, the younger brother, is going to have a tougher time making the Olympic team, but he's still 3 years younger than Connor.
hmm
He will get to the Olympics eventually.
Yeah.
They're both training in Montreal. So it's interesting to note that Marilee Caruso's two sons are both potential Olympians.
That's a good tidbit. Yes, we'll look forward to LA 2028. That is fascinating.
Yeah, Connor and Ryder Church, great athletes.
Nice, good.
Let
Any
me ask you a question. Are the Steinbach Pistons going to the United States Hockey League?
Yes, thanks for putting me on the spot. I don't have reliable sources per se, but I've always kind of thought that. I'll just put the onus on me. I'll just say yes, with this new building that seats 2360. I would say you don't build a building just to stay in the MJ. You kind of go up a level, and you know what? They've deserved it. Just with the program they've built on and off the ice. That's what I would
How
think.
far is Niverville from Steinbach?
25 minutes.
Yeah, it's almost with the amount of people in that area, which is a growing area, certainly.
Yeah.
But with the amount of people in that area, it's tough to have two teams there. It's tough to have two teams in Winnipeg in that league.
hmm Yeah, and I've talked to people in the Niverville organization that say they really need to work at their fan base because Niverville, for example, is one of the youngest communities in all of Canada,
Yep.
right? So you have them all into sports and everything else. And like even for myself, it's like, well, I just get bit. I can't go tonight because of other commitments, that sort of thing. But Steinbeck is a bit more on the older side, but you still do get the younger side, and we're still drawing lots
Yeah.
because they realize it's not just about the game; it's about the entertainment, whether it's Hawaii night or not.
There you go. There you go.
So yeah, I think there's something coming down the
I
pipe.
think there's going to be some tremendous upheaval in the way junior hockey is arranged right across the country
Yeah,
since that deal struck between the NCAA and the Canadian Hockey League.
right.
So now if you play in the Ontario League, the Quebec League, or the Western League, you get the scholarships.
Yeah.
And now that the Centennial Cup teams, yeah, we still call them the Centennial Cup teams, the Canadian Junior Hockey League, that those teams are going to have a lot of trouble drawing players for the intensity of their schedule, the amount of practice and the amount of road time it takes
hmm
to play in those leagues to continue to draw players in because that scholarship carrot is now pretty much off the line. And young kids that are 16 and 17 can now go to the Western League and play in the Western League because the scholarships are coming out of there
Right.
and not out of the Manitoba Junior Hockey League or the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League. And something's going to happen. Is the MJ going to be a 20-year-old league? Will it affect U18 hockey? And then you've got the whole question of the Manitoba Major Junior Hockey League and the question of the Junior B League and the Junior C League, which is huge in your area.
hmm
Like that Capital Region Junior B League looks at Southern Manitoba and they see St. Malo and they see everything around St. Malo that is just loading up that huge Junior C League. And there's a lot of people thinking to themselves, well, why aren't those two leagues together? Because I can tell you the top of the Junior C League would be in the middle of the Junior B League easily.
Yeah.
So why don't you have a league of say 24 teams as opposed to a league of 16 and a league of 8?
Yeah.
It, it, to me, there is no reason to call one Junior C and one Junior B.
Yeah.
They play almost the same kind of schedules. All they're doing is fighting to draw kids
hmm
when those leagues could all work together. And again, that's the problem, of course, with Niverville and Steinbach. You've got two good, really solid franchises
Yep.
so close together in a rural area that is also fighting against kids that can play less hockey if they want to go to school or they want to have jobs. So if a kid wants to go into the U of M every day and he lives in Blumenort and he wants to drive, he's a good hockey player, but he's going to drive into the U of M to go to school. It's going to be tough for him to play for Niverville or Steinbach because he's got to get back, get to practice, get on the bus, go where he needs to go. So he's going to play for the Mud Bugs or somebody in the Junior C League because he gets to play 30 games a year, practice once a week, play one game. And those kinds of things are fighting against each other every day. So I really think over the next 2, 3, 4 years, we're going to see a gigantic upheaval in the way hockey is arranged right across Canada.
Yeah, we've seen this in the AJ with Brooks Lee going to the BC and
Yep.
guys leaving for nothing.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
it's
Yes.
like really like how do these coaches feel? Like second or eight? I mean, I'll just say generically, there are situations in my head here, but it's like this makes no sense, and it actually loses its credibility when the MJ is actually a very, highly touted league, I think, throughout the country.
Oh, I don't think there's any question about that.
Yeah.
But it's not just the MJ that's
Hmm.
now been put in this position because of this deal between the Canadian Hockey League and the NCAA. The Saskatchewan League is in that situation, and the Centennial Cup teams in Ontario and Quebec, and of course the East Coast, they're all now in that situation where what kind of league are we? Are we going to be a league for 16 and 17-year-old kids to prepare to go to the Western League? Or are we going to be a league for 18, 19, 20-year-old kids because the 16 and 17-year-olds went to the Western League because they're thinking scholarship?
Yeah.
And
That's
so the whole mentality of parents changes. And when that mentality changes, then the leagues have to do something to continue to be as good as they are.
right.
Hockey has changed so dramatically when I played in the late 60s and early 70s when you signed C cards. Like I was property of the Chicago Blackhawks when I was 14 years old.
Hmm.
It didn't matter what I did. I had played for the city's Pee Wee All-Star team, and to sign that contract to play for the Pee Wee All-Star team, you also signed what was called a C card. And that means that the NHL team that had the rights to your area had you forever.
Wow.
So kids who came out of Sarnia back then, Whitey Stapleton, who played for Chicago for 100 years, Phil Esposito, who was from St. Catharines, which was also a Chicago Blackhawk area because they had the St. Catharines Teepees, but the Teepees wanted him to get another year of junior B hockey, so he came to Sarnia to play junior B because that's where all the Chicago Blackhawks players were. That thing ended in the 70s, that C card thing, and then we changed the draft rules. And we have now changed draft rules and whether we're going to have drafts or not have drafts. And the Bantam draft, when the Bantam draft arrived, everybody was appalled.
Hmm.
And people still wonder why does the Western League have to draft kids at 14, especially when you had that scholarship issue. Well, that issue doesn't exist anymore. So can you move that draft to 16 now? Because it doesn't make any difference. Kids don't have to make that decision. They can still go to the Western League whenever they want to. Um, Things have changed just about every decade, but this next decade, I think, is going to be just an upheaval. And especially if a team like Steinbach gets into the USHL, because then you're going to find a whole pile of teams like Brooks, um, teams in BC, teams that are really successful in Canada, thinking the USHL is the way to go because it's the second best quality to the NCAA Division One if you're not in the Canadian Hockey League.
Yeah.
And after the Winnipeg Ice screwed up so dramatically in the Western League, I don't see the Western League going out of its way to come back to Manitoba anytime soon.
Yeah, which is terribly unfortunate because that was
It is.
really
But what
good.
it does is it opens the door that if Steinbach has the people to run the organization,
Yes.
it opens the door to get into the USHL. And I would argue that if the USHL came to Steinbach, the draw would be bigger than a Western League draw anyway. I think people want to see the Fargo Force and they want to see Youngstown Phantoms and they want to see the Chicago Steel. I'm not certain they want to see the Swift Current Broncos or whatever they're called this week, the
That's
Medicine Hat Tigers. I really think that they really want to see these kids that they know are going to, first of all, to the NCAA, and second of all, more and more and more of them are being chosen by the NHL.
yeah. Well,
So if the Western League isn't prepared to come back into Manitoba, which I don't think it is after this last fiasco, where they were going to build a rink and never did, and all the rest of it,
yeah.
the only place Steinbach has to look is the USHL, and I think it would be really, really successful in that.
I love that take because when you're saying that, I think about the Kelowna kid that played for Verdun, uh, and then went to the USHL
Mhm.
and then got caught up with the Blackhawks. I mean, well, Verdun, that's where I grew up, and his
Yeah.
dad taught me and all that. So you kind of make note of these things, but it's like, there's that story, but Yeah, you think the draw is going to be higher. That's fascinating to me. That
And
is.
and look what's happening around the MJ. Have you seen the Portage roster?
Have I
They
seen
got
but
about 24 kids on their roster. Five
the
of them are Manitobans.
the Terriers, you mean? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's only five Manitobans on that team. They're either from another province and they've got the full quota of 6 or 7 Americans.
Hmm.
They're loaded up with American players.
Yeah.
So while Canadian players are going down to play in the USHL, American players are coming up and playing in the MJ because they're looking for that second chance.
Interesting.
And who was the kid from Bemidji that came up and played for? I think he played for Paul at Steinbach. Smith,
Yeah, Cole Smith.
Cole Smith. Remember him?
Oh
Now
yeah.
This is a great story. Cole Smith's dad had saved all of his money to put his kid through university in the United States, $160,000. But because he didn't think he was that good a hockey player. He knew he was a big kid, strong kid. Didn't think he was that good a skater at 18. He wasn't going to get a scholarship. They found that they could come and play in Canada for a couple of years in Steinbach,
Mhm.
and that the kid could get stronger and become a better skater, play for Paul, who always talked about and promoted US college hockey. He plays for Paul, has 2 years in Canada, and gets a half ride to North Dakota.
Mhm.
Now, we sitting in Canada look at, boy, that's going to cost $80,000 for 4 years. But Cole Smith's dad says, I just found $80,000
Exactly.
because I had the money put away to send Cole to school. And now he only needs half of that money. And then Cole Smith goes to North Dakota and ends up with the Nashville Predators.
Hmm.
That's that's the kind of story that the Manitoba Junior Hockey League doesn't promote enough. But it's obviously taking hold in the United States when you consider the number of American players who are coming to Canada to play in the MJ.
Yeah, we got a kid. We had Burns from California here last year. Like, how do you find Steinbach? It's like,
Well, I did a whole story on the Mikan kid who played for you there.
well, you did.
Nick Mikan. Remember, I did a big story on him because, of course, his father founded United Health. I mean, that's just a gigantic story.
Yeah, yeah.
His grandfather was the greatest basketball player of the 1950s. The man who basically built the NBA, George Mikan. That was Mikan's granddad. I mean, it's a remarkable story. But those are the kids that are coming up to the Manitoba Junior League now and filling spots that Manitobans either aren't taking or aren't good enough to take.
Yeah.
And you just have to read down that Portage roster to realize that there is a sea change coming in
Mhm.
hockey,
Yeah.
and the Manitoba Junior League has jumped on it
Yeah.
with the number of American players that are playing in the league.
Yeah, it's definitely fascinating. I mean, Chris Dingman's kid now plays for the Terriers, just got traded at the
Yeah,
deadline. So you kind of take note of those things and play for the Blizzard. But yeah, I think yeah, there's an upheaval, as you say, a reckoning where yeah, things are gonna have to get
I'm not sure it's a reckoning as much as it's just a change
change.
where you have to find where you land.
Hmm.
I mean, the Manitoba Junior League, do the teams if say Steinbach leaves for the USHL.
Yeah.
So basically your flagship franchise and your flagship rink
Hmm.
leaves for the USHL. Does Portage, Selkirk, Niverville think about the Manitoba Major Junior Hockey League and making that a junior A league to save the incredible amounts of money it costs to run that franchise by busing to OCN and Wayway and Verdun? And wouldn't it make more sense for those teams to maybe make an Eastern division of the Saskatchewan Junior League?
Yeah, when these showcases come together, the SJ and the MJ, you can't tell me those conversations aren't taking place.
You can't. You
Yeah.
cannot. They have to be
Yeah.
because it's costing so much money to run Manitoba Junior Hockey League franchises. And I go down and read their attendances every day.
Hmm.
There are good teams drawing 200 people.
I know.
That's that's problematic. Yeah, maybe sponsorships carry the way, but who's really carrying the way are the the wealthier people in your community paying out of their own pocket to keep these teams alive. And as we've seen in so many communities, people get tired of doing that. They almost got tired of doing it in Steinbach
Yes, they did.
till this latest group took over from the gentleman who owned it before.
Right. Yeah. The Highlight Group.
You and I both remember when Steinbach Pistons nearly folded.
Yep. The players didn't even, as it's often been said, the players didn't even want to be here. And then
No.
they won that championship in 2013. Rose stands up there. We don't suck anymore.
Yeah.
And that created like you.
And now you look
Yeah.
at Steinbach, and that's the last team you think would fold. That's the team you think is going to the USHL because it's got so much going for it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't take long for things to change.
No. Right. It has to be like the investment from the people and seeing it. And as you say, people get tired of it, but you see broader picture. Anybody that comes here for the first time, they think so highly of Steinbach. They just love it. I think of the Dagelmans, whose kid was here. The Fries. There's other
Brett Kaiser.
Brent Kaiser, yeah.
Brett Kaiser is a very nice young hockey player, but he is not going to get a college scholarship. He may be able to play for a Canadian university team. That opportunity is out there.
Yeah.
But we all know that nobody goes to those games, and you're basically playing senior hockey.
Yeah, you are.
So his dad, a good friend of mine, had talked to him. Why don't you play in the MM with your buddies? Like, because his brother did that. His brother Jack had played a number of years with the Blues in the MJ, and finally got traded, I don't know, to Dauphin or someplace, and just said, "I'm not going there. I'm going to go play for the Victorias with my friends." So you look at a player like Brett Kaiser. Well, the only reason he's playing in Steinbach is because he loves the coach, he loves the building, and he loves the community. Like, he loves his billets. He loves being in Steinbach.
Yes, he does.
And that's what Steinbach has going for it. And that's why Steinbach could be a competitive team in the USHL or the Western League if the Western League ever wanted to come back. But it could make that work. There is no other community in Manitoba who could do that. Brandon's already in the Western League, and Brandon's rock solid. They're fine. They're going to be in the Western League forever. But Wayway's not going. Dauphin isn't going. Portage isn't going. I look at their numbers. They've got a very nice hockey team, but their numbers are just dreadful. 400 and 500 in that building, and that's a great building.
It is. That's where the Steinbach Council went and they checked it out. How's it going to be? And I remember going there thinking, okay, this is awesome. And again, with Virden, I mean, the Wee Kings had playoff games there versus Lethbridge last year. And I remember what I used to skate in there as a kid. And that's what oil does for you with that rink. I remember taking pictures. This is crazy, right? And so, yeah, I mean, that shoot, I mean, that's terrible if you're only drawing 400 to 500 in Portage. I mean, that's wild.
Right. So the amount of money it costs to run an MJHL team, and you were only an hour from Winnipeg.
Yeah.
Why would you not want to play in a Winnipeg league?
Yeah. Right.
Why would you not want to think about sitting down with the MM and saying, how do we make this better for us, Niverville, maybe even as far as Winkler, certainly Selkirk, Portage, Niverville.
Right.
You've got these teams right around the city, and they're already playing in Pembina Valley and Stonewall already. So why not make that a big, strong junior A league with a better opportunity for kids to go to school and work, where you don't have to be on the bus all the way to the Paw a couple of times a year? Or the other alternative is, why don't you have an Eastern Division and a Western Division and play crossover showcases 4 times a year? Where 4 times a year you go into Dauphin. They got a great rink. They've got a secondary rink where you could play extra games. Go into Dauphin. You come back, you go to Portage and play those crossovers. But when you keep taking kids on the bus to Wayway and Virden, and I'm looking at the schedule, and there are nights when that's your game. You're the Blues, you drive to Virden, you play, and you drive all the way back.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to go to school the next day.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy stuff. And they've always done it. It's not like it's new.
Right.
But there are better ways to do that. And the other question that everybody has to ask themselves is, and it's the hardest question of all to ask, how many of these kids are going to play pro?
That is
I,
2%.
I, I would hazard the guess that, and by playing pro, I mean getting to the Southern League. I just looked at Danny Chartrand, who played with Selkirk and some other teams, and he had spent the last couple of years in the Federal League with Port Huron, and now he's playing in the Southern Pro League, I think, with Bloomington, Indiana, or somebody. No, Peoria, yeah, the Peoria Rivermen of the Southern Pro League. You're making $300 a game. You're basically playing senior hockey.
Yeah.
And then you look at the Blues and the Freeze, and what are you paying? $12,000 a year to play?
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, just to say you're playing in the Manitoba Junior League?
I know.
Why aren't you playing the MM with your buddies? Because you're not going to the NHL. I
Exactly.
hate to break it to you, son, but it ain't happening. Why don't you play in the MM and and play 32 games or 40 games or 45 games and stay at home, and you don't have to get on the bus. You can just drive to St. Vital and play, or drive to Fort Garry and play. And the crowds are just as good. They're getting 400 and 500 for MM games. They're getting 400 and 500 for MJ games. So you're playing in front of the same number of people.
Yeah.
And I just don't get, now that the scholarships are gone, I don't get the draw of the MJ the way it's set up.
Yeah.
And if they lose Steinbach, and good for Steinbach if they go, because I think it's wonderful. I think it's a
Right.
tremendous idea. The whole concept to me is
Hmm.
just first rate. But if they lose Steinbach, now what? You have Winnipeg, Brandon, Steinbach as your three largest communities in the province. Brandon isn't in the MJ, they're in the Western League. Steinbach wouldn't be in the MJ, you're in the USHL, and your two Winnipeg teams are at the bottom of the league with like 2 and 3 wins.
Yeah,
So
it makes no sense. And the
it
Saints
makes
already
no
and the
sense.
Saint and the Saints already moved to Verdun, right?
Yeah,
So
the Saints already moved to Verdun. There's great stories that came out of that. There was a kid I really liked him. He ended up winning a championship with the St. Boniface Riels out of the Southdale Arena. He lived in Southdale, and he said he had been one of the stars on that Saints team that won the championship
hmm.
that Anning coached, and they beat Dauphin in the final. And the team gets sold to Verdun. He goes out to Verdun to play,
Yeah.
and he said, I'm laying in my bedroom at my billet's place in Verdun, and I'm looking out the window at the barren Canadian prairie full of snow on a Tuesday afternoon, and we have no game tonight. I've already been to practice. I'm not in school anymore. And I'm just laying there in my bed looking out and saying, I got to get back to the U of M. What am I doing this for? And the next day he quit, came back to Winnipeg, enrolled at the University of Manitoba. And a week later, he was playing for the Riels and they were winning a championship because he realized, I'm not going to the National Hockey League. Why am I beating myself up as an 18 or 19-year-old at the time, as a 19-year-old playing in the Manitoba Junior League away from home, and there is no opportunity for me? I'm not good enough. And the kids that can make that decision and the parents who can make that decision are the smartest of the bunch. Because at some point in time, you've got to be able to say, I love hockey. I want to play hockey. But do I want to kill myself for hockey? Do I want to give up an opportunity at school or at a good journeyman technician's job? Carson King, captain of the Stonewall Jets, the Manitoba Major Junior Hockey League, was playing in Swift Current. Big guy, goal scorer. The coach wants him to fight because he's the big guy. I don't want to fight,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to the NHL. So he came home, went to Stonewall, played with his pals. He's already signed a contract to play for the Warren Mercuries in the senior league. He's going to keep playing hockey, but he's also got his electrician's first round journeyman ticket. So he's going to get level 2 this year. He's going to be an electrician.
Yeah.
He's going to have something to look forward to because he was smart enough to know I'm not playing in the NHL. I'm not going to get those $1 million contracts. And at some point in time, kids have got to come to that determination and play hockey for what it was meant to play for, which is a great time. I play with my friends. We have fun. There are 400 people watching me here, just like there would have been 400 people watching me in Swift Current.
Yeah.
The reality is, at some point in time, you have to come to terms with the fact that hockey is a game and it's only a profession for the very lucky and very few.
Yeah, very well said. Because after career, it's like, oh, well, now what, right? So there has to be that backup plan, and if those other
But
things
the
don't
guys who are
come,
making the best backup plans right now are playing in the MM and the CRJHL. They're the ones making the best backup plans. I look at those two leagues and I see the CRJHL are guys that are trying to get their tech tickets.
Mhm.
They're going to be tradesmen. And I look at the MM, and 3/4 of the players in that league are at the University of Manitoba or the University of Winnipeg. Because you can play in that league, play 40 odd really competitive games with decent crowds with your friends, and you have one practice a week, maybe, and you play twice, maybe on the weekends. And it's a great way to play hockey. If you've been able to make that conclusion that you are not playing in the National Hockey League. Because I'm not sure I'd want to play in the Southern League.
Like in the USA,
Just like in Peoria. There
Peoria,
just
yeah.
isn't enough money, really. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Like,
No, that ain't cutting it.
no, neither's the East Coast League. I give a lot of credit to those guys who can battle through the East Coast League to try to make it to the American League, so you can go from $500 a game to $40,000 a year. Well, 60,000 now.
Mhm.
And you see those guys come up from the Moose to the Jets. They've got dollar signs in their eyes because 2 weeks pay in the National Hockey League on their two-way deals might be what they make in 2 months in the American Hockey League.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
It's a tough world.
Mhm.
It's a really tough world.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are 32 teams now, but there's an entire planet trying to make those teams.
Mhm.
And if you don't skate like Seth Jarvis or Nick Ehlers, you're going to have trouble making it. Or you're not as big and strong and fearless as Adam Lowry. Like there's two types of players, right? You've either got to have all the skill in the world, all the speed in the world, or you don't have to be a fighter, but you got to be tough.
Yeah. Well, that
And
documentary there with Seth Jarvis, I mean that guy's tough as nails. I mean, shoot, he just like
and
his
he's
time
also
with
fast, and he's also
fast.
got great hands.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, his time there with the Four
See,
Nations.
there's another great conversation here,
Mhm.
and we're both running out of time. But there's another great conversation that maybe we could have some other time.
Yeah, part two.
Is what's what is the difference between Carson Lambos, who was a can't miss, can't get out of the Iowa Wild. He gets brought up to the Minnesota Wild every now and again, but he never even suits up. You have Jet Wu, who was absolutely supposed to make it, is a very good hockey player. He can't get out of Abbotsford. Just cannot get out of Abbotsford. You have Owen Pickering, big, strong, fast, St. Adolphe kid, smart, good player. Can't make it with Pittsburgh. Comes up every now and again, plays a few games, he's back down. And then you've got Denton Mateychuk from Dominion City,
Mhm.
who is
Yeah.
a star with the Columbus Blue Jackets, and going to be a great player, maybe a 2032 Olympian. He is going to be one of the best defensemen in the league before he's done. And then you've got Zach Whitecloud, who was in Verdun, wasn't supposed to make it, went to Bemidji State, which is not a particularly great university. They don't win a lot of games. You're not a lot of guys coming out of Bemidji State, but somebody found him in Bemidji State, and he wins a Stanley Cup in Vegas, and now he's the anchor of the defense in Calgary. Um, those five guys, four of them should have made it. One shouldn't have. The shouldn't have did, and of the four guys who should have made it, only one did.
Yeah.
And the other three guys are close. They're like right there, but they just can't get over the hump. And people look at that and go, well, my kid can do that. You think so?
Yeah.
Do you think they can do that? Those guys are just that much far ahead
Mhm.
than everybody else in the MJ down here.
Yeah.
And those are discussions that parents need to have with coaches and scouts and family advisors. Um, Daryl Walsky did a really wonderful thing, I think about 10 years ago. They had a whole his little agency out in Brandon, which is part of a bigger agency worldwide. He had hundreds of kids on his list. And one day he just woke up and just X'd 80 of them because he just what's the point of helping a kid sign an East Coast League contract? We don't make any money.
No,
We
you
don't make
got,
any
yeah,
money in the East Coast League.
you have
Why
to
are we
live.
what are we doing?
Yeah,
What
yeah.
are we doing here?
Hmm.
Um, if you're not good enough and you know you're not good enough, but you still want to play, there are places to play that give you an opportunity to become something else and
Right.
do it well. And those conversations need to take place among everyone from Hockey Manitoba to the coaches at the U of M and in the Western League. At some point in time, kids are going to have to make a decision.
Yeah,
And I've
absolutely.
talked too much, and I need a soda.
It's all good. I love the insights, and you've raised some excellent points here. Because yeah,
And don't think I made those up myself. That's from
no,
going to junior game. Back to our original conversation. That's from going to junior games and talking to coaches and scouts and parents.
yeah,
That's from going to these games and seeing these kids
yeah,
and being around that. It's not like I just came up with that one afternoon. This is stuff that runs deep through coaching staffs, and people are thinking about it. They're just not coming out publicly to say, what are we doing here?
hmm, yeah,
Do you run these junior leagues just to make money? Well, they're not making money. Do you run them for ego? Well, there's other ways to have ego, still run a junior team and not have it cost so much.
yeah,
And there's also this being honest with the kids that you bring into the junior leagues and say, son, we want you here. We want you to play on the third line. You know what that means? Maybe you'll play at the U of M one day. Maybe,
maybe, yeah,
maybe.
yeah,
But the NHL, don't even give it a thought. Go back to school.
yeah.
And we've got to start being more honest with people,
I love it.
especially parents and kids.
Yeah.
Hard on egos, though.
Most definitely, because it's again one thing to make it to the NHL, it's another thing to stay there, and that's another conversation. But it's because it's this whole thing. Yeah, these leagues are meant to get you to that next level, but in reality, that's not the case. That's at all. And
If you're 19 years old playing on the third line in Dauphin, you aren't going anywhere past Dauphin.
yeah, that's right.
And your chances of being released,
Mhm.
if two good American players show up, are really good.
They are. Oh,
I'm not laughing at anybody. I'm laughing with them because
mhm.
what's that line from Moneyball? At some point in your life, you're going to be told you can't play anymore. It could happen when you're 18. It could happen when you're 35. The Manitoba Junior League has a bunch of 18-year-olds they need to tell that to, and the Winnipeg Jets have a bunch of 35-year-olds they need to tell that to.
Yeah, that's
Conversation for another
a
day.
conversation for another day. Boy, I did. I mean, we scratched the surface. We got underneath,
We
but
did.
there's other stuff I'd love to have you on some other time to talk about for sure. And Jets and Game On magazine more. But this has been awesome. To get it at the local level because I know your boots on the ground. You're not just in your as you say. You've been to these games and everything else. Any plans to come out to Steinbach? Have you been to Steinbach to check out the new rink or
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I even went out in the summertime and took a tour. Paul took me on a
nice?
whole tour of the place. I love the place. I think it's spectacular. Um, and it's something really that the community of Steinbach should be very, very proud of. See, now I back in the days when I played golf, and I stopped playing golf because when I was 60, I started this little hockey business. So golf became secondary. Back in the day when I played golf, I lived at that Steinbach fly-in and I lived at Quarry Oaks. I mean, I was basically a Steinbach guy. So I know the community well, and I like the community, and is my buddy Dave Anthony still doing the games?
Yes, he is.
Yeah, he's a beautiful guy. I
Yeah,
love
he
him.
is. Yeah.
Um, so anyhow, yeah, Steinbach deserves a USHL franchise. They certainly deserve a Western League franchise. They're bigger than the Manitoba Junior Hockey League, and the people who run the franchise are bigger than the MJHL too. So keep our fingers crossed, and hopefully we'll see some great hockey out there, not just good hockey.
Yeah. Most definitely. Yeah, and I know Mark Chipman, he's coming to the Fire and Ice Banquet March the 4th,
Yes.
which is I'm gonna get my ticket this week. That's the plan. So looking forward to that. But again, Scott, thanks so much for
Yep.
taking
Thank
the
you.
time.
Thanks, Steve.
I
Appreciate it.
really do appreciate it. And yeah, I'll put this on my page and on YouTube in the next while here, and we'll take it from there. But as I always say, God bless.
God bless. See you later.
See ya.